She doesn't love you. I can feel it.
My name is James, and I spent the last 3 years believing I understood love. Or at least, I thought I did. I'm a graphic designer, work from home most days, and I'm the kind of person who keeps routines. Coffee at 7, a walk around the neighborhood at sunset, Netflix at 9. I've never been good with chaos. Until, of course, life decided to rewrite my entire script. This story happened on a Tuesday. Tuesdays are usually quiet for me, but this one changed everything. I'd been dating Emma for 2 years. 2 beautiful, complicated, confusing years. She was brilliant, a therapist with degrees that intimidated me, the kind of person who read Proust for fun and could talk about human psychology like it was poetry. We met at a coffee shop. So cliché, I know, and I was immediately drawn to her. Not just physically, though she was stunning. There was something in the way she listened. She had this quality of presence that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. But lately, things had shifted. I could feel it like a pressure change before a storm. I was standing in my kitchen that Tuesday morning, staring at my phone. Emma had texted, "Can't do dinner tonight," stressed about the Morrison case. That was the 3rd cancellation in 2 weeks. I wasn't even angry. I was just, hello. I kept replaying moments from the last few months. The way she'd laugh less. The way she scrolled through her phone during dinner. The way she said, "I love you," with the same inflection she might use to say, "I'll grab milk on the way home." That's when I heard the knock on my door. It was Marcus, my neighbor. We'd never talked much, just the obligatory nods in the hallway, brief conversations about package deliveries. He was maybe mid-50s, weathered face, the kind of person who looks like he'd lived through something. He was standing there in a paint-stained shirt, holding what looked like a car battery. "Hey, I'm sorry to bother you," he said, his voice a little raspy. "My truck's acting up. I'm jumping it from across the hall. Just need to know if that's cool with you. I know it's weird, but my battery's in the garage and—" "Yeah, totally fine," I said, probably too quickly. I was grateful for the distraction. 30 minutes later, Marcus and his truck were situated in the parking lot, and surprisingly, we ended up sitting on the curb outside our building. He'd offered me a beer from his truck cooler. I'd accepted. The sun was setting, golden and soft, and we just sat there for a moment. Marcus took a sip of his beer and said, "So what's eating you?" I didn't even know how to respond to that. I barely knew this man, and yet his question felt like permission to fall apart. "That obvious," I asked. "You answered the door like you were hoping for a reason to exist for the next hour," he said simply. "No judgment. I'm just observant." I found myself telling him about Emma. All of it. How amazing she was. How much I'd loved her. How recently everything had started to feel distant. How I wasn't even sure anymore if what we had was love or just habit. The comfortable weight of something that's been there long enough to feel permanent. Marcus listened. He didn't interrupt, didn't offer quick fixes or platitudes. He just nodded, sipped his beer, and let me talk until I'd exhausted myself. When I finally stopped, he was quiet for a long moment. "Can I be honest with you?" he said. "Please." He shifted on the curb, his shoulders sagging a little. "She doesn't love you. Not really. Not anymore. Maybe she did once, but people change. And I can feel it. The way you talk about her, you're not talking about the person she loves back. You're talking about the person you wish you could be for her." The words hit me differently than I expected. Not with anger, but with a strange relief. Like someone had finally said the thing I'd been afraid to admit to myself. "How can you possibly know that?" I asked, but my voice was thin, uncertain. "Because I've been where you are," Marcus said. He stared out at the parking lot, at nothing in particular. "Twice, maybe 3 times if I'm being honest. I know what it looks like when love is dying. It looks like quiet, like effort replacing ease, like conversations that end before they begin." I wanted to argue with him. I wanted to defend Emma, defend what we had. But something about his certainty was compelling. It was like he could see something I couldn't. "So what am I supposed to do?" I asked. He turned to look at me then, and there was something ancient in his eyes. Something hard-won. "That's not the question you should be asking me," he said. I was thinking about Marcus's words long after he'd left. After he'd successfully jumped his truck and driven off with a wave. I'd gone back inside, microwaved some leftover pasta, and sat on my couch in the dark. Emma called around 9. She was still at her office. "Hey, babe," she said, and I heard her exhale. She sounded tired. "I'm just going to finish these notes and head home. I'll probably be really late." "Yeah, okay," I said. There was a pause. "You okay?" she asked, and I could hear the distraction in her voice. She wasn't really asking. She was making space for me to say yes so she could get back to work. "Not really," I said. "We should talk." "Now?" "James, I'm so swamped." "Not now," I said. "Tomorrow. Dinner. Somewhere we can actually focus." She agreed, and we hung up. I didn't sleep well that night. The next evening, we sat across from each other at Marino's, an Italian place we'd been going to for years. Emma looked exhausted. Her hair was in a messy bun, and she was wearing her stress sweater, this old gray thing with a hole in the sleeve. She looked beautiful and broken, and like someone I loved very much. "So," she started, stirring her water with a straw. "What's going on?" I had rehearsed this moment 100 times that day. I'd planned what I would say, how I would say it. But looking at her now, all my prepared speeches fell hollow. "I've been thinking a lot about us," I said carefully. "And I need to ask you something. And I need you to be honest with me." She set down her glass. Her eyes focused on me with that therapist's attention. "Okay. Do you love me?" The question hung between us. She didn't answer right away. And in that silence, I got my answer. "I care about you," she said finally, and I watched her choose her words. "Very much. I respect you." "That's not what I asked," I said gently. Her eyes welled up a little. She reached across the table and took my hand. "I don't know," she whispered. "I really don't know anymore. And I'm terrified because of that. Because I think I should know. I think if I truly loved you, I wouldn't have to think about it." It hurt. God, it hurt. But it also felt like oxygen. Like someone had finally opened a window in a room that had been getting smaller and smaller. "I've been asking the wrong questions," I said. "I've been so focused on whether you love me that I forgot to ask myself something else." "What's that?" she asked. I thought about Marcus on that curb, about the sadness in his voice when he talked about the end of things. I thought about all the moments Emma and I had stopped showing up for each other, not dramatically, but quietly, gradually, like a tide going out. What does true love actually look like? I said, "Because I don't think what we have is it. And I don't think it because you did something wrong or I did something wrong. I think we might just be two people who loved each other at the wrong time. Or maybe we loved a version of each other that doesn't exist anymore." Emma's hand tightened on mine. Her tears spilled over. "I don't want to lose you," she said. "I know," I said. "But I think we already did. We're just mourning it now. We're finally acknowledging it." We didn't break up that night, not officially. But something shifted. We spent the evening talking, really talking, about what had changed. About how she'd become consumed with work because love was too terrifying. About how I poured energy into loving her because I didn't know how to just be with someone. About how two good people can care deeply and still not be right for each other. By the time we left the restaurant, we both knew what had to happen. It took another week. Conversations with tissues, with anger that softened into sadness, with memories that hurt and comforted at the same time. But we ended it. We ended it with respect and honesty and all the love we could muster, which turned out to be a different kind of love than what had been fading between us. I ran into Marcus about a month later. He was getting his mail. "How's it going?" he asked, and something in his expression told me he knew. "We broke up," I said. "Emma and I, a few weeks ago." He nodded slowly. "You okay?" "Surprisingly, yeah," I said, and I meant it. It hurt, but not in a bad way. It hurt like healing hurts, I think. And I've been thinking a lot about what you said on the curb, about true love. Marcus leaned against his doorframe. "I think true love might be less about passion and more about choice," I continued. "It's about someone choosing to show up for you. Really show up. Not just in the big moments, but in the Tuesday moments, the boring moments. It's someone being present even when you're not the easiest thing to be present for. Marcus smiled, a real smile that made him look suddenly younger. You figured it out, he said. That took me a lot longer. The answer to that question I couldn't answer for you, the one you had to answer yourself. So what does true love look like? I asked again. It looks like someone who chooses you, he said. Really chooses you. Not the idea of you. Not the person they wish you could be. It looks like being known and being loved anyway. It looks like someone staying when leaving would be easier. I thought about that as we said goodbye. I thought about it on my walks. I thought about it as I began to rebuild a life that had been on pause for 2 years. And months later, when I met Sarah at my favorite coffee shop, who looked up from her book when I sat down, who asked genuine questions and actually wanted to hear my answers, who showed up not because she needed me to be something for her, but simply because she wanted to be present, I finally understood what Marcus meant. True love isn't about grand gestures or perfect moments. It's about someone choosing you in the quiet, in the ordinary, in the Tuesdays, and knowing that you're doing the same for them. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more Heartfelt tales, and drop a comment letting us know where you're listening from. We'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you. Thanks for being part of the Unscripted Hearts community.